Good morning, everybody. It's 7 a.m. Coffee with Shanda. And could you ask her to be quiet? Awesome. And I'm actually not only fired up to talk to you today, but I think, hold on, we're going to stop the dog from barking. I think that today's Coffee with Shanda is going to help a lot of people with growing their money. So I get asked often about how do you not only make money, which is my specialty as a business coach, but how do you actually grow it? How do you do this thing called pay yourself first? How do you actually stick to the plan on these things? And how do you grow your wealth? So I'm just going to share with you. I was praying earlier, and I was asking, what is it that you guys could really benefit from? And this just kind of dropped in. And so I was going to hot seat today, and I feel like some people need to hear this. So I'm gonna just share this. So first and foremost, here's another reason why this came forward for me. I have a client. I've actually had 3 clients this month within the first 10 days of this month literally send me messages with like huge income, income generating, they basically filled their bank accounts. And so I can't talk this morning. And one of them was like made $100,000 cash in the door by the 10th of this month. Another one messaged me and had brought in 40,000 cash. I'm not talking sales. I'm talking in the door, like in their bank account. And of course you could imagine, like if you brought in $40,000 in the first 6 days of this month, it feels pretty extraordinary, right? Especially when this person, I think it was 4 months ago, was no longer working with me and had a hard time paying the rent. Right. And so how do you go from that story of like stress financially and all the stuff that goes with that, to crossing the bridge to like a $40,000 in the bank in like 6 days, or $100,000 in the bank in like 10 days? How do you, and by the way, the $100,000 in the bank in 10 days is someone who literally has done my PACE program and is in marketing mastery. But here's what's amazing. She's never done the formula very well. Like she's never done she hasn't been, I would say, not even close. She's definitely been in my top percentage of success stories, but she's not in the top, we think that we have to be successful at the formula to get the result to work. And really, you have to be really good at your leadership, and you have to be really good in your mind to be able to create the result, because you take whatever it is that you have and you use that opportunity to create, as they say, lemons to lemonade. We hear these things all the time, but we don't actually do them, right? Many people don't do them. And that's why you see so many people struggle. In fact, as driven people, we often even give that advice to people or even our clients, but then behind closed doors, we don't do it. So first thing I'm going to say to you is you got to walk the walk behind closed doors if you want to see your company skyrocket. You could interview my husband, my financial advisor, my accountants, in my internal team, like everybody in my internal team. And how do we operate behind closed doors? Well, my staff gets 1% of gross revenue, not profit. Everybody gets that. The senior team, as well as the customer service team, everybody gets that. And I'll talk about how I figured this out and how I grew my wealth from the spot of when I was struggling financially to flipping it on the other side. But let me just share a quick story about the person who made $40,000 in the first 6 days of this month. She text messages me and she's celebrating. She's feeling amazing about herself, which is awesome. And then the next thing out of her mouth is, now, and this is what we do, right? Now I'm going to take, a percentage of that 40,000, and I'm going to play blackjack and push the chips in over here on doing Facebook ads. And she's doing Facebook ads, but she just started doing Facebook ads, and all Facebook ads are not made equal, meaning that doing a Facebook ad to, let's say, we fill 2-day events through Facebook ads. So many people say you can't fill events through Facebook ads. That is not true. They just don't know how to do it. And so we do that. We also have like cold traffic funnels, which means the only way you can scale a company, which most people are not at the scaling process. They think they might be, but they're not at the scaling process. Scaling process is like you have your team, you can put in like thousands and thousands of people and your company won't implode, right? Like you could, so it's like, it's a game of scaling. You've figured all the processes and systems out, how to fulfill everything. Now you can scale. So that's real scaling. So to do that, you want to use cold traffic, ads, stuff like that, media buys, and they come through, a system of, maybe they have a free video like this, and then maybe they have, some sort of call to action to do a 5-day challenge, or maybe they, buy your book, or maybe it's just basically a series of events to warm them up. And then they end up becoming a high functioning client or customer of yours. So all of that being said, she says to me, I'm going to put the chips in because I've got all this cash now. I'm going to put the chips in, feeling good about myself. And then, I'm going to invest in cold traffic to basically sell her high-end coaching program. And I was like, I am all about risk. I am all about risk. As an entrepreneur, you never want to shut down your risk. You got to keep that high because the risk is what pushes your business forward. But I've countless times seen this. This is why you really do need to be with a good coach. You need to get access to a good coach. You need to, like many of my clients don't work with me privately, but they can book VIP days, half VIP days, things like that. I'm sure there's some element of that you can do with your coach. So saying that, you want to run your strategy through whatever coach that you're coaching with that hopefully is a rock star. Because so often we make these decisions to risk big, and we risk big in the wrong areas. So that would have been a wrong area for my client to risk big in, right? To put all the chips in because she's got the cash and she's running some Facebook ads to be able to run a cold traffic to be able to, sell her high-end program. And I was like, no, here's what I want you to do. And here's what I think. I'm sure there's many formulas, but let me just give you the one that's worked for me countless times. And I'm humble enough to know that there's other ways to do this. But if you haven't found a way to do this, then maybe just take this and allow it to be the opening in a cash, worry-free life. Okay? And so I said to my client, I said, I want you to take 20,000 of the 40,000, and I want you to pay yourself first in a slush account. I use an account with my financial advisors, and it literally gets pulled every month. There's a huge chunk of money that gets pulled out of my bottom line, and it gets put into a slush account. It is not invested. It is not in CDs. It's not in the market. It's not in real estate. It's not in stocks. It's not in any of that. And that money pays my quarterly taxes, and it stocks up. I don't know what to tell you, but I definitely don't think you should put your security in money. You should put it in God. But I do believe that if you look in scripture, money has been spoken about over 2,000 times in the Bible. Like, God wants us to have money. It's not evil. It's not bad to want it, but you need to steward it in a way that it grows. So I figured out, I was told a million times, pay yourself first, pay yourself first, pay yourself first. So the same thing happened to my client that happened to me. So she didn't even have to say anything, and I knew immediately. When I told her to put 20,000, 40,000 in a slush account, and she wasn't allowed to spend it, when taxes come up, you can take taxes out of it, but you're not allowed to spend it on anything else. You're not allowed to spend it on marketing. You're not allowed to spend it on like buying a house. You're not allowed to spend it on anything. What I want you to do is, now you can do $40,000 in six days. I want you to work the exact same way next month. So see, often we think, oh, it was kind of a miracle that I created that result. No. It's not a miracle at all. You just have to retrace exactly what you did and do it again. Everybody is so quick to wanting a new strategy to grow, when the secret is working on something until it works and then doing it again. So the next text back was, oh, I think I'm breaking old money patterns. This feels really triggery for me. And I said, I know, but isn't it weird? You're just paying yourself. The money's not out of circulation, but you can't spend it on something else, but you're just paying yourself and it feels like it's gone. It's the weirdest thing. So I wrote this down and here's my formula. So number one is I generously give to me. So generously give to you. I give 17% of my gross revenue to me. It goes into a slush account every single month. And I would say it's to me and it's to taxes. Hey, Kevin. It's to me and it's to taxes. Then I give 10%. And if this is helping, please comment and say, yes, this is helping. Okay, because I can dig into more of these stats and bring stats to you. I literally looked this up. So 17% goes to me. Type in yes if this is helping you. 10% goes to God for me. Now, so that 10% is how I think about it goes to God and God gives it to whoever God's giving it to. So however you want to do that, I just have a belief around that. It makes me feel better. And if I feel better, I grow higher or more. My confidence grows. If I feel like a good person, it serves me just as much as it serves the other person. So I sleep better at night, knowing that I give 10% to God to give to other people. Then I give 43% to operations inside my company. So 43% is on the table, which means that if I run out of that 43%, I might pull back on Facebook ads. And if I have extra 43%, I might put in more chips to Facebook ads. Sometimes I might put in more chips to Facebook ads or put in more chips to something else, and I'll take it away from something else, right? But I operate in the 43%. I used to hate budgets, but it's like, this is the formula that I've used and it's worked really well. 30% literally is in the kitty, meaning that it's in the cash flow of the company. Now, sometimes which means I operate this company on a 30% profit margin. Now, sometimes that profit margin, literally in the last year, I had quarters that I wasn't at 30% savings in the company. And so what I should have done and I didn't do is I actually should have went and sold more. And I didn't. And that is just a product of being comfortable. It's also a product of knowing where I'm going, what I'm doing, and then I'm getting to that like that marketing campaign or whatever that will close the gap on that. So I'm not saying I actually think that's a lazy way of thinking, and I think that's a highly risky way of thinking versus lighting a fire under your ass and just selling more. So that's my formula. 17% goes to myself. And that goes into an account. It's an account that I cannot easily access. And it's not invested. 10% goes to God to give to others. 43% is operations inside my company. And 30% is savings. Now, that 43% is payroll and all of that. And I have payroll in that. So, last year I paid myself 7 figures. A lot of people are like, don't pay yourself, like reduce your price points. And I get that. And we do strategies like that too. But there's certain things that I'm wanting to buy because I'm setting myself up because I really do believe we're going into a recession, which I'm excited about. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I'm excited about it because this is a moment in time that if you run your cash right, you're going to be able to have a quantum leap in your wealth. And so, I'm the bridge for a lot of people to be able to learn how to create cash flow. I am like a cash flow queen. And so when you look at right now, I believe right now you should follow this coaching more so than ever before. Like really, like I would honestly, and I am not an advisor, okay? But I would honestly rather hold debt somewhere and create cash. Like I was talking to a friend of mine, I think it was yesterday, and they said they're paying off their house more. And I'm doing that too. But when I was talking to her, I'm still putting that 17% in like the savings, right? In the savings in a place that I can't get it. It's not in my bank savings, right? It's literally in a financial advisor account that's a slush account. But when I was saying this to her, I realized, and I didn't know her income bracket or anything, but I said, when we go into a recession, or if we do, but I'm pretty sure we are, when we go into a recession, your real estate's not going to be worth what the real estate's worth. That's actually kind of the game I'm going to jump into, is the real estate game a little bit more when the market crashes, right? And so when when that drops, you don't have access to that cash because the banks aren't going to give you any equity, right? And so a couple things. If you've got good credit, you might want to go. Again, I'm not a financial advisor at all. This is just the game I'm playing. I went and pulled lines of credit so that I have lines of credit. I'm not using them. I actually don't have any debt except for my house, but I don't hold credit card debt or anything like that. But if I did, I would hold the credit card debt and hit my slush account, because if I can take that money whenever the market like hits, right? And we're seeing lots of, I mean, people are getting laid off like crazy right now. Companies have been consolidating for the last 2 years, and, nobody has a crystal ball on when it's going to hit. But, looking at, we're going to have a 30% skill deficit in the job force by the end of this year and 50% at the end of 2020. I would say we have a pretty good indication something might be happening there. So that saying that, just pay yourself first right now. Do everything you can to invest your money in the things that will cause you to cash flow. So in other words, if you have a job right now, it's like you're probably not going to save your way to being in a position to be able to take advantage of this market. If you have good credit, you might be able to get a line of credit because, if you get a line of credit under $250,000, they don't run your credit every year. I don't know if they'll reduce that credit line when the market does what it does, but from what I understand, nothing's guaranteed, but from whatever I understand, that typically doesn't happen if the line of credit is under $250,000. So these are is this helping? Like, hopefully I'm not like talking into the little green dot on this, on this camera, and this isn't helping. Is this helping? Because I think sometimes we get so caught up in either spending money or making money that we don't actually stop and save some money to look at what's coming ahead. And there's a huge opportunity for a lot of people to be able to jump when this market does whatever it does. And so instead of going, let me spend money on things that I think I need because I need support on this or whatever. What if you actually looked at where can you cut the fat in your life and maybe even get rid of like some luxuries, if that's where you like sacrifice whatever you have to sacrifice to be able to slush account somewhere else. What is the commitment monthly that you're willing to do? I started with literally $200 a month. And actually it was $20 a month that I started, grew to 200. Then it was like $1,000 a month. And then within 6 months, I was doing like 5,000 a month. And it hurts every increase that you give to yourself. It hurts. I don't know why, because you're just giving to yourself, but it hurts. It's like this crazy thing we have in our head. And then from 5,000, I jumped until, I was, way up there in the amount of money that I pay myself now. And so another thing that you could think of as well, and then I'll end this coffee with Shanda, is that what is possible for you if you could grow your wealth and your money? Like, would you possibly still be married? Some people might be still married if they didn't have money issues. Would you be able to, buy a new house in the recession? Would you be able to set yourself up to grow substantially? Would you sleep better at night? Would you help somebody in your family, live their elderly years in more peace? What would you do? Money is such a blessing when we start to get conscious with it. What would you do? And really get connected with that, because there is just a huge opportunity for you to jump. So where would I invest my money right now? I invest my money in my business. There is no stock and there is no real estate deal that I've been able to do yet that pays more dividends out and more return on investment out than actually investing in my business. So, and I remember like running this even with my stepdad. I was like, at one point I was like, I feel like I need to be in stocks more. And he's like, why? I was like, well, because I want to like grow the leverage and the wealth of my money. He's like, but it seems to be when you do, an event, or you do a marketing campaign online, or you invest in a new sales coach, it seems like in those 3 areas, your return on investment is like massive, like 50%, sometimes 200%. You're just not going to get that in the market on a regular basis. I was like, yeah, you're so right. This was years ago that he kind of opened up my awareness. So I'm hoping I'm opening up some awareness here. If you have a business coach, go all in right now. If you don't have a business coach or you hate your business coach, send me an inbox message and let's talk today, right? Like, you have no time to waste at this point in time. You've got to get yourself in front of the ball. If you are growing your business and you just made some money, don't go all in an area that, you know, could be like, I mean, Kevin's on this thread. He's actually on the comments. He is my Facebook guy. I mean, love this man to death. Good friend, honest, good at what he does. I think Kevin would say this as well. Don't like sometimes you can invest $100,000 or $150,000 in Facebook traffic and not get that money back for 3 or 4 months. And it's a game that you really should know your messaging, and you really should know what your product and your service is so that you can scale and grow. It's a scaling strategy, and it's amazing. It's amazing. But if you don't have cash right now, and paying the Facebook ads is stressful, and trust me, you're not going to get a good team for not a good investment, meaning that you're going to have to invest in that. Then I'm going to recommend that you learn how to do the warm market and the hot market strategy so that you can learn your messaging, you can learn how to sell, and I know how to do that, and it literally costs almost nothing. I mean, if you invest $1,200 in learning how to do like a traffic strategy that I can teach you, $1,200 to $1,500, you can put yourself in a position where very quickly, I can't guarantee, but I can tell you, I mean, I'm sure if my clients are on here watching right now, my clients could get on the comment section and they can tell you ridiculous numbers that they've been able to make without having to invest a ton of money in traffic. Now, if you know what you're doing and you know how to sell and you have people who sell with you or sell for you, then I'm going to say play the game of traffic, right? Like online. But it drives me nuts when people sit there and go, I need to have a beautiful website and a brand, and you have no traffic. Don't spend money on those things. Or I need to go figure out how to run Facebook ads, and you have no desire to run an agency, right? Why? I would never learn how to run Facebook ads, ever. And I made millions of dollars before I ever ran any cold traffic. So I push a lot of my clients to like people like Kevin, but not until they figured out their cash flow, they know how to sell, they know their messaging, they know what they're doing. So before that, let's grow your cash flow so that it's not a risk to go all in on some other strategies because you're ambitious to grow. The game right now for at least the next year, if not the next 2 years, needs to be all in a strategy that is a for sure cash advance to you. I don't want you doing a guessing game of will this maybe work, because you're going to effing miss the market drop. You know how quickly things can change? I mean, again, I don't want to do any income claims because people are crazy and they like to sue. You will probably never make this type of money. I have to say stuff like that, unfortunately, because people are nuts out there when we're just trying to give. But like, you know, I have a client, you know, Jessica, I think she made $300,000 or $400,000, and she did it part-time last year. I have another client who still doesn't know what she's doing, who literally made $250,000, and she doesn't even know her messaging yet. I have, you know, obviously, you know, one of our clients, 40,000 by the 6th of this month, another one, 100,000, you know, by the 10th of this month, cash in the door, not sales. You can go from literally like being in like, I can't pay for anything to, oh my God, I have all this cash. And the go-to is just take that cash and just start paying off all debt and this, that, and the other, which I'm not saying that's a bad idea. I'm just saying right now, like pay the minimums and stock up the cash. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not qualified to give you really that type of advice, but that's the game I'm playing. As much cash as possible so that I can play in the market when it crashes. So was this helpful? I hope so. I will see you at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning on Coffee with Shanda. Go all in on a for sure strategy.